And now I want to bring in Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett for more context here. Major, how significant is this moment for the overall trajectory of the war in Ukraine?
It could not be more significant, Chanel. And the president's statement on social media that matters most is this: I don't want advantage. I want peace. I've never seen an American president, and I've covered them since 2000, say out loud in any context whatsoever, domestic or international, especially international, I don't want advantage. Why not? And I want peace at what price? What price is the peace between Ukraine and Russia? You mentioned the visits earlier this week by the French President Emmanuel Macron and the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Both of them came to Washington wanting to remind President Trump that it would be harmful to Europe and to U.S. interests to have a peace settlement with Russia that gives Russia too much, that essentially makes it pay no costs, either economically or in land having to be given up and given back to Ukraine for its invasion of a sovereign country. And they very much fear that peace could be at any price, one that could be more advantageous to Putin and Russia than Ukraine or the more broad interests of Europe writ large. So when the president says, I don't want advantage, that is something that Moscow will hear, write down, and when time comes, because eventually there will be some sort of negotiation, the Russians now know the American president is only interested in peace, not necessarily an advantageous position for Ukraine. And how did this get off the rails in the Oval Office? It got off the rails because Ukrainian President Zelenskyy tried to remind the president and Vice President J.D. Vance that Vladimir Putin has signed agreements before with Ukraine and broken them. And he has justifiable nervousness about anything that Vladimir Putin would sign now. Why did this bother President Trump so much? Because President Trump believes, to his core, he has a fundamentally unique relationship with Vladimir Putin, that Putin will not cross him, will not go against what he has promised directly to President Trump. Whether that's true or not is less important than the truth that President Trump believes it. His ego was wounded in that moment, and I've seen this play out with President Trump before. When his ego is wounded, especially in public, he has only one response, which is to bring up the tension, bring up the sense of conflict, and defend himself and his ego, and not incidentally, what he believes are the interests of the United States that he pursues, especially in the Oval Office. Those are the key takeaways.
Okay, Major Garrett, please stay with